All right, y'all. So here's my question for you. How long is the MAGA honeymoon going to last? That's my question. You see this at the beginning of every new presidential term. They get a grace period. They get a little honeymoon where their approval rating is higher than it'll ever be, right? And so for Trump, he literally is at his highest approval rating ever right now. He's 47% approve, 47% disapprove, which means he's even Stevens, which is, he's never been there. He's never been there. He's definitely never been over 50% popularity. So for him, this is sort of a big deal. But again, it's the little honeymoon phase. And so how long is it going to last? Well, we have this segment here from CNN that I want to walk you through. It is, they have some numbers on some of the stuff that Trump is doing. One of the biggest executive orders he signed. They looked into it, and it ain't pretty. So let's watch, and then we'll break it down.
Donald Trump is, by pushing policies like this, is just trying to eliminate his honeymoon period completely, because this is just not a popular policy. End birthright citizenship for children born to immigrants illegally here. Look at this. Just 35% support. The clear majority, 53% oppose. And I've looked at multiple polls, looked at the question, asked multiple different ways. If anything, this undersells the opposition by a little bit. If you don't, in fact, mention for children born to immigrants here legally and just ask about ending birthright citizenship, the opposition shoots all the way up to about 70%. But this 53% is clearly indicative of a country that does not want to end birthright citizenship. Simply put, this is not a popular policy.
When I was younger, I just assumed that every country had birthright citizenship, right? That if you're born in the country, you are a citizen of that country, right? That's what I assumed. Did you guys assume that when you were a kid and didn't know anything about politics? I just assumed that, like, that's just part of being a citizen of a country, a member of a country. It's like, yeah, you were born there, right? Not every country has it, to be fair. There are plenty of them that do. He lies about it. There's only like 2 countries that have it. That's total fucking lie. There's plenty of countries that have it, but not every country has it. But birthright citizenship it's literally in the Constitution in the most clear way possible. Like, this is in our founding document that, like, if you're born here, you're an American, right? And so that's probably why only 35% support getting rid of birthright citizenship.
Trump pushes policies like this. His honeymoon period will squeeze and be even shorter than it was back in 2017.
So look, I think that's true. But what Harry Enton needs to understand, and what Democrats need to understand, and what the media needs to understand is the facts don't sell themselves. The facts don't sell themselves. You need to make an argument. You need to hammer home. You need to make clear to people what Trump is doing. His first day executive orders, one of them got rid of a Biden executive order that lowered prescription drug prices. So he signed an executive order to raise prescription drug prices. He signed an executive order to increase corruption in the executive branch and allow the people around him to get away with whatever the fuck they want to get away with vis-a-vis lobbyists and bribes, etc. Right? He signed an executive order which designated the drug cartels as terrorists, which is, he does that so that he can then do acts of war against them without congressional approval. He wants war with Mexico. That's what he wants. And so he's doing all these things that are objectively horrible things. But I got to be honest with you guys, I don't see almost anybody fucking talking about him. We're talking about him. I don't see anybody else fucking talking about him. I don't see Democratic politicians. Where the fuck is the organizational element among Democratic politicians? I mean this sincerely. I'm not even trying to say this as a own or like, oh, I got you, bro, I caught you guys. No, I genuinely and sincerely mean, where the fuck is the organizational element among congressional Democrats or Senate Democrats where they all get together, they all have a meeting, they decide, okay, here are the 3 executive orders we're going to focus on and that we're going to hammer away on. The 3 I just listed are 3 fucking really good ones to do it on. Also, the birthright citizenship one's a real good one to do it on. And then they all go out there, they all have their talking points, they all have their arguments, they all make clear that this shit is crazy, that Donald Trump is a warmonger, that Donald Trump wants higher prices for you, etc. If you don't do that part of politics, not as many people are going to know or care about what Trump is doing, and his approval rating might remain high. Do you not understand that this is part of the game? This is part of the way it works? You need to highlight your opponent's ills and hammer away. And he's right that this policy is really unpopular and Trump is trying to do it illegally through executive order. You need a constitutional amendment to change this. But if there is no opposition, it's just going to be another day at the office and his approval rating will stay the same.
Have opinions changed over the years on this?
Yeah, so look, they've asked this question numerous times. Remember, this is not some new policy idea. Republicans were pushing this during the anti-immigration, era that was in the early 2010s. And look here, support ending birthright citizenship. In 2011, it was 35%. In 2015, it was 31%. In 2025, it was 35%, or it is 35%. You don't really see consistency like this across many poll questions, but you see it here. Consistently, the percentage of Americans who support ending birthright citizenship is only about a third of the country, and it simply put, Sarah Seidner, has not moved no matter which politicians get in. The 35% we see now is most likely going to be the 35% we see a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months down the line.
It hasn't changed a whole heck of a lot.
No.
Speaking of politicians, what about bi-party? What are you seeing there?
Yeah, so you might expect that Republicans would overwhelmingly support this. Now, the majority do support ending birthright citizenship, but it's only 56%. It's only 56%. Donald Trump's approval rating among Republicans, I assure you, when the first poll comes out of his presidency, will be much closer to 90%. So he's losing about 35% of Republicans on this particular question. You look at Democrats, it's just 21%. You look at independents, it's just 19%. The bottom line is the base, a large chunk of the Republican base, abandons Donald Trump on this question of supporting an end to birthright citizenship. And Democrats and independents, simply put, don't like it. Trump would be much better off focusing on lowering taxes, on cracking down on immigrants who are here illegally and have committed crimes. That is a much more popular policy. Support ending birthright citizenship, Sarah Seidner, simply put, is not popular.
All right, Harry Enton, very clear this morning on this Tuesday.
I'm trying.
So look, again, he's 100% right here. Basically what this segment is saying, hey man, this is really unpopular. It's something he's trying to do. Democrats, wakey wakey. Here's a line of attack. Would you like to use it? But they're too busy not attacking anything. They're too busy in the Senate voting 99-0 to approve warmonger Marco Rubio, and they're too busy voting 65 in the Senate voted for the Laken Riley Act, which takes away due process from immigrants. So, again, if I was emperor of the Democratic Party for a day and I got to control the messaging and the Democrats actually listened to me when I told them what to say and what to do, we could literally make it so that after this first day of Trump with his executive orders, the abysmal executive orders, his approval rating is 47%. I'll have him down to 42% at the end of the week. If they listen to me and listen to, hey, here's our lines of attack. Here are the ones that you focus on. Here are the things you say. But Democrats always think the facts of reality will sell themselves, right? It's like Biden signing bills that created 800,000 manufacturing jobs and then thinking, well, that's enough. Now he's going to win the election. And it's like, when he goes out there, he can't string together a coherent sentence, right? He's talking about meeting with politicians from France in the 1970s. That's not going to sell itself. Nothing sells itself. This is politics. You have to do the good thing and then also sell the good thing. And they forget that part. And it works when it comes to your opposition. You have to single out the bad thing and point at it and hammer away and say, this is bad. We should do this instead, right? But they don't do politics. Democrats don't do politics. And in the Trump era, they've cucked themselves like it's the Reagan era, like there was a Reagan-style landslide, and they're all half agreeing with the Republicans anyway. So, and they're terrified now. On the issue of immigration, they're so terrified. Kamala ran as a border hawk. She ran as a border hawk, and she lost. But they look at Trump winning and they go, we need to be even bigger border hawks. And so that's why you probably don't hear Dick about birthright citizenship. He signs the most un-American executive order of all time, which basically says our Constitution is wrong to have birthright citizenship. You can't get rid of this by executive action, but he tries. And instead of the Democrats pointing that out, it's just, shh. Don't remind people we exist. We're really unpopular, and God forbid we try to do anything to change that. Okay. So how long is this honeymoon period going to last? My answer is very simple. It depends on what the Democrats do. Because here's the thing. Even if the Democrats do nothing, but the basics fall off a cliff. So in other words, the price of eggs, the price of milk, things like that. If the prices keep going up, if the price of gas goes up, if on the economic front, everything falls apart completely, that actually does sell itself. Things that truly immediately impact absolutely everything, those actually do sell themselves. So the price of eggs go up, the price of chicken goes up, the price of milk goes up, the big economic bubble bursts, and the market plummets and people lose their jobs. That is something where people go, anybody but Trump and the Republicans, they'll go in the other direction, right? But anything outside of that, you actually have to make an argument. You actually have to sell it. You actually have to walk people through it, right? And so if there is no big spike in prices, right, then it all depends on the Democrats how long the honeymoon phase lasts. It all depends on the Democrats and how aggressive they are, how clear they are, how good their arguments are. But again, in a world that made sense with the shit that Trump did literally just on day one, he should go from 47% to 35% approval rating like that. He should. He should. But the Democrats have cucked themselves, and so he gets to do bad things and then largely get away with it, which is like a nightmare scenario. And then the Democrats are so silly that they think like, oh, the really objectively unpopular things are actually really popular. No, it's just nobody's countering it and pointing it out and saying, look at this. So anyway, there you have it. So he's already leaning in. Like I told you, this is Trump Unchained. There's zero guardrails. He does what he wants. He's surrounded by loyalists and sycophants. And so this is like this is stuff, he's going to end up doing stuff that's so extreme he wouldn't have even tried it in his first term. Because now there's no consequences. You need to make him pay a political price. You need to take your pound of flesh. You have to do it. So wakey, let's go. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.